Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Happy St. George's Day to everyone across the country. I must say, I have seen a lot of activity on St. George's Day. There obviously has been something going on in London as well, but happy St. George's Day to everyone. And this week's guest, guys, this week's good mate of ours, a fantastic campaigner, activist and everything, Chris Bateman. How are you, Chris?
How you doing, guys? Yeah, all good. Thank you very much. All friends here. Paul, just like I say, Paul Rimmer, I've always wanted to have a chat with you, so I'm very happy to be on tonight. All right, mate.
Don't get star-spangled here now, you know.
Yeah, I'm starstruck now, see?
You're with the awesome...
Obviously, I know Pat. I've known Pat years, and obviously you, Big John.
Anyway,
so thanks for having me on.
Give us a rundown. You're part of the British Democrats, and tell us what you're doing. Tell us your position in the council. Just give us that breakdown.
Okay. All right. So, obviously, I'm part of the British Democrats. We're like a community-based nationalist party. I'm a member of the NEC, which is always good. So we've been elected on now, and I'm also a parish councillor in Basildon in Essex. Which I got elected on in an election in October 2022. And we got 74% of the vote. So we really done well. It was against another independent candidate. But we're doing quite well in this neck of the woods.
Tell us as well a bit about your activism and your campaigning beforehand, because you've been on the demos and stuff like that.
Yeah. I used to do it like all the demo. I mean, I've been quite active for a number of years. Pat McGinnis, a good friend of mine, known you a number of years now. Actually, a funny little story there was obviously with the canvassing side of things. Pat taught me all I know, really. I was a younger lad than what I am now, and me and Pat went out canvassing in where was it? It was Cheshunt, wasn't it? Went out campaigning in Cheshunt, and obviously I've met Pat a couple of times before, and we went out. The first I remember met him on a Saturday, and I've got all dressed up, and we got out, and I was so frightened. Literally, I remember he said, "I'll knock on a few doors with you," and I was like, "Yeah." So we've all gone on. Oh, the first day I was so scared. You know, when you get that tongue tight and you can't, But after a little while, when I listened to him and we were just going through and it just become like you were just knocking on like a salesman, yeah? But you're trying to sell yourself to the electorate, to the electorate. So, I've got a lot of thanks for Pat, actually, because, he put me on the road to where I am now, as did many others. So, it's all good, all good.
The thing with canvassing is people love the attention, they love people going around and asking them questions about what issues are important to them. And of course, they always go to pretty minor stuff like rubbish collection or, noisy neighbours. But you can raise the bigger issues, especially housing is important. Yep. And people will air their grievances. And it's something we've lost. It used to be the mainstay of British politics, canvassing, knocking on doors, talking to people. The major parties don't do it now. So when the smaller parties come along, you do get some hostility, but the vast majority of people are just happy to get some attention.
Yeah, I definitely. Do you know what? I'd 100% agree with that because apart from, say, a few leaflets that you might get through a door in a borough council election or whatever, the main parties never ever knock on your door, like never. So in essence, in the beginning, I always used to think that was a bit it was harder for, say, like parties like National Housing Party or British Democrats or whoever to knock on someone's door because we have to do a lot of groundwork, yeah. But once you've started the groundwork and you actually see, you knock on someone's door, and a lot of the times when you knock on somebody's door, what I find, like you just said, Paul, like about the, silly things in my area, right? They've gone from weekly black sack collections to fortnightly, yeah. There's a 400 dwelling housing development that's been chucked in. there's like three exit roads in the whole of our little village, yeah. And it's like, you know, if you get another 400 houses, you've got 600 cars, blah blah. The infrastructure's not there, the schools, the doctors. So with community politics, it's very, very, when you're chatting on the doors, it's very, very easy because you can ask a person an opinion or what they find a situation, and usually they will start talking to you about can't get a doctor's appointment, you know, the bins aren't big, so you can sort of roll with it that way. And I think that's a good starting point. If people when they go out canvassing, they shouldn't be afraid, because I was, and Pat would tell you, I was brutally honest when I first got there. Many years ago, I was sweating and I was thinking, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? But after a little while, it just becomes natural. And yes, you do get some hostilities, but as you say, most of the time, people are just happy to see your face and have a chat, which I think is really good.
John, you're muted. You're muted, John.
Face-to-face meeting at the door is important, but what you'll find is you don't need to do a lot of talking. They will do the talking. You just have to coax it out of them by saying, you know, have you got any issues with housing? You start something like that, then they'll say, oh, my kids can't get an house, it costs too much. There's so many HMOs are causing antisocial behaviour, fly tipping and stuff like that. And I've had that for the past 2 years in this ward. And I mean, I picked Hollingwood for a couple of reasons. I'd lived down there. I'd also worked in the area. And a lot of my long-time friends come from there. And it was a girl, 31, 32 years old, who said, listen, I heard you said, John, that you're running elections. Were you running Hollingwood? That's what she said to me. She's only 31 at the time. And, you know, that's how I started off. And I weighed up the area a couple of years before I ran, and you know I'd made some judgment on it. I got the gist of the people in the area, and in the last big elections when Nick Griffin and BNP came up after the Oldham Bradford riots, which was caused by the council, not anybody, any political party or any particular figures. It was caused by the council. And the area where I'm running was a high voting area at that time. And so, you know, I picked it well. And, you know, I'm not saying this about everybody. I'm 57 years old and I've spoke to people. I've been to meetings. I've done my own planning and stuff like that on a lot of different things in my life. So I thought I was ready for the local election route. But no, there is lots of positions within the council. You can be a councillor, you can work at the council, you can become like a member or working through the council, chief executive and stuff like that. And we've got people in Oldham trying to get these jobs. Last week, he never came on, but there's a guy who went for the chief executive position within the council with a good CV and stuff like that. And they just blanked him, you know, because he has a bit of a different view. But it's changing that. People aren't having the media narrative, and people are not listening to our other mainstream political parties because they're just full of buzzwords and political correctness, and they're not listening to them now. And the police are getting an hard time as well, off normal people. And you know, things are changing, and this is the time us guys are going to be part of that time. We're going to change politics. Let me just get to the chat. Good evening, Craig. I hope you're all right. Nick Wilson, he's standing up in Rochdale, running as an independent. He'll be getting a bit of help off me over the next couple of years. Yes, George Benson and Serena. Good evening. Go on. Who was wanted to say that?
Yeah, I just want to respond to Chris. I've known Chris a long time. Met him in the BNP. I think it was Hornchurch meeting. I used to see you initially. And that campaign you was talking about in Cheshunt, that's probably the last local election, BNP local election campaign ever now, like that. When we got a really good result. We only campaigned for about 3 months. and we got a really good result. And you didn't seem like you were scared to me when you was canvassing and all that. It was, I really enjoyed that campaign. I mean, I really enjoy it, local politics, and I really want to emphasise to the people watching, right? Now is the most important time in 70 years for smaller parties to take part in elections. The Lib Lab Con are on their last legs. They are literally about to collapse. The majority of the public hate them, and like I'll say it again, this is the most important time in 70 years to get, like, people saying that there's no political route are just so wrong. This is the best time in history. We're going to follow on from what's going on in mainland Europe, National Rally, AFD. They're not all perfect, but we're standing in elections. We're standing in local. We can't do any more than what we're doing, but we do need help, and we do need people to step forward, stand in elections. There's nothing to be scared of. I was scared at the beginning, but I've now realised I can't believe what I was scared for. So, we need leafleters. We need people to donate, to buy leaflets. We need people to join the party just to motivate us. I mean, we had 4 members at the St. George's Day celebrations in London today. A new member joined today. I couldn't make it because I was working. And, it's things are going good. And, we want to promote other parties with similar policies like the British Democrats, because we know how hard it is and how difficult it is to get something going. And Chris Bateman is a veteran British nationalist activist, and we're really honoured to have you on, Chris.
No, I'm really, really pleased you said that, Pat. Listen, both the National Housing Party and British Democrats, we're very, very, very similar policies, yeah. And I see you as all friends. With the British Democrats, obviously, like you say, community-based politics, local politics, you have to start from the grassroots and work your way up. I think I'd advocate that so much, because you can't all go gung-ho into parliamentary elections and, straight away. You need to start off from the grassroots. And basically, British Democrats and yourselves, right, because I think we're exactly the same. We're starting to do the groundwork. And we're starting to see results. Last month, for instance, we've been campaigning up in Chatteris in Cambridgeshire. And we've done a great campaign. Got a guy up there, fantastic fella, really, really passionate about what he does. I went up there for a weekend to help him, and then we helped in election day. And he had a Labour candidate up against him, but he had certain things you can do in community politics. Like one of his policies, there's a road between, say, like a school. There's a road next to a school, and I think it's called Station Road or whatever. And he got speed watch involved there, because obviously all the cars are speeding down there too quickly. And he got a lot of votes just on knocking on people's doors and informing them that he wanted speed watch put in. He's put in points of view from if there's housing developments coming in. So we'll do a petition. Now, people say petitions don't, and I've had this in my parish council meetings. They say, petitions don't work. But they obviously do. They're effective, yeah? And it gets people on your side, yeah? And we ran a fantastic campaign up there, and we did a lot of work. It was very hard. But he won the election. And, I mean, I say I was surprised when he won the election, but I wasn't, because if you'd seen the passion and the dedication of what our small, the small team that we had up there put in, it's fantastic.
Incidentally, I probably know quite a lot of those people, because they was all my colleagues when I was in the BNP with you. Yep. And it's a great result, and it's a inspiration for all of us, all the other small parties, and it's great.
Yeah, all it comes down to, and I've always said this, it always comes down to building your core support in a party, yeah, and you'll know that getting members. Members is one thing, but you do need. I can't advocate enough to get people out leafleting, out talking to the public, setting up local meetings in your local area. That always helps you. But the best thing you can do, and this is once you've got a little small base of people, your electorate, the people that you're actually serving, right? Because we're not doing this for, yes, we are doing it, you know, for ourselves, but we're doing it for the people that live in our parishes, live in our town councils, live in our boroughs, yeah? Because without them, what's the, you know, no one would do anything, would they? You basically do it for the people, you know, to have better, you know, have better infrastructure, because that's the main bugbear for me. All the other, even locally, all the councillors and all the things in my area always go on about housing and this and that and blah, blah. But you think to yourself, well, hang on a minute, if the infrastructure's not there, for example, so like my local school is oversubscribed, so all the children, a lot of children in Oak Bridge have to go to other areas, or in Basel have to go to other areas of Basildon. Same with the doctor's surgery. I mean, how many times have you sat on a, I mean, I haven't for a while, but sat on a phone on a Monday? You can't make an appointment. You can't walk in and just go and see your doctor anymore. You have to sit on a phone for 2 hours and then you never get through. It's things like that. The biggest, most best thing you can do with localised politics, and this is my theory, is localised politics is that get involved, get talking, right? Doesn't even, yes, knocking on doors and things like that, but you talk to people up and down the country. You probably get this, John, all the time, yeah? And Pat and Paul, you know, you start talking to people and everyone's got the same small issues and problems. Don't have to be massive problems or issues, but everything's the same. Doesn't matter whether you're in Oldham, you're in London, you know, Liverpool, down here, everywhere is the same. But what we need is bodies. We need people to stand up in local elections. And I know, as you say, I know local elections and parish elections, it sounds boring, yeah? But the grassroots, grow from the grassroots up. And if we start having successes, which the British Democrats have, we've been making little inroads like here and there, that's going to, you know, once the electorate know who you are and they see you as me, Chris Bateman, I'm trying to help you, then it's for the better. And, you know, I think that's a good thing. And I think our way of doing things is starting to show fruition now. That's why I say just keep going, keep battling. And if people want to get involved, they need to get involved. And that's with British Democrats, National Housing Party. You know, we need members and we need bodies. And then we'll achieve our goals 100%.
There are big issues that frame, you know, the national debate. Obviously, immigration and the changing demographics of the country, taxation, you know, people wondering where the taxes are going and people being hit too hard by taxes. People are sick of paying high taxes. You know, there's so many big issues, as you said, housing's a big issue. How the government spend its money. I mean, the National Health Service, access to the National Health Service. And this is what motivates people at a national level. And so you've got to have answers for these questions. But you find if you're standing in local elections, it's usually a lot smaller, the issues that really motivate people to go out and vote. Now, the problem is you've got the Labour juggernaut, especially in Liverpool and Manchester and places like that. And they have maybe 1,000 supporters already signed up for the postal vote. So to actually win an election in a metropolitan urban centre, you've got to mobilise around at least 1,000 people behind you. And that's a heck of a campaign. If you stand there, as you say, in parish elections or smaller areas, you won't need that sort of vote. But obviously, we're building up at the moment. The nationalist scene fractured, the patriotic scene fractured, break up of the BNP, the demise of UKIP. But there's a lot of people out there with political experience. I mean, both the BNP and UKIP had tens of thousands of members, people who campaigned in local elections. And since the demise of the BNP and UKIP, we've had all the splinter parties. You know, to even now we've got Heritage, we've got Homeland, we've got Patriots, we've got Alternative. Obviously, they don't stand in elections. We have For Britain, we've got Britain. We've got so many splinter parties from that, which includes our two, that's the Housing Party, the UK, and the British Democrats. Somehow, hopefully down the line, we'll come together, because we do have to face these national issues, and we do have to have a vision for the whole country, a vision to rejuvenate Britain and save Britain, because we're in great danger. But obviously, we're building up a lot of experience. You've got to build up networks. The party is very important, because the party brings people together. It educates people. It gives people a vision. It gives people an organisation. We have to be organised if we're going to make an impact. I mean, my plea to anyone who's listening to this is simply get involved, join up. It could be the British Democrats. It could be the National Housing Party. It could be Homeland. It could be the Heritage Party. It could be a variety of parties that might appeal to you. But join up and get involved and join the network. And this is, once you see, one of the reasons why people are scared initially of standing in local elections and canvassing is because it's unfamiliar territory. You haven't really experienced it. Once you go out and experience it, you find that it's actually quite inspirational. It's very invigorating, and it's very needed. And as Pat said earlier, the Labour Lab con is on its knees. People have given up on them. The bankrupt parties. I mean, the Labour Party are riding high in the polls, but I'm finding out there nobody wants to talk about Labour. Nobody's impressed with Labour. The only thing they're really less impressed with is the Tory government. But I mean, this whole Rwanda bill has exposed Labour as being a crazy party who want open borders, who want no control, no way to sanction people pouring into this country. They effectively want porous borders, and they want to make our welfare system, our welfare state, available to the whole world. I mean, if you listen to Labour politicians, it sounds like they want all of Africa to come here, all of Asia to come here, and to come and join and get our freebies, as if somehow we're obliged to feed the whole world. I think Labour's song in the national election should be "Feed the World." It's sickening, you know what I mean? Somehow neglected. Our kids don't matter. Our futures don't matter. We're here to serve other people from around the world. The allegory I use to that is like it's a father. A father is responsible for his own family, for the welfare of his family, for raising his children. A government is responsible for the nation, for the people of their nation. It's not responsible for the whole world. We've got to break this psychology that somehow we're obliged to feed the world. We're not. We're obliged to create decent society in Britain for the British people. That's our first responsibility. John?
Yes, Paul, it is. And you know, like Pat was down, we was knocking in the Lower Lime Road area one time, and Pat had knocked on a door. Then the woman contacted me over email, so I went back, knocked on her house. Maggie Grimes, she was called, Margaret Grimes. And she talked to me, she agreed with her stuff, and she went, but I can't be a councillor. And why can't you be a councillor? I'm not like clever enough. The woman was a school governor, and that is how you start to get in the position of becoming a councillor, by doing a position like that within the community. Now, what we find, and I think everyone will agree with me here, we've got too many box tickers in council. They tick a box because they're a woman, they're LGBT, they're a minority, but they haven't got the skills to do the job. And I can prove this because we have we contracted people to like give advice to our council leaders and stuff like that. And the amount of money we spend on these consultants in Oldham runs up to millions a year, because the consulting have not got a clue about running. You know, we don't have the local businessman who builds houses. We don't have him on the council. We don't have the local shopkeeper who's had a shop for 50 years. We don't have him on the council. We have box tickers. And I'll say it, you know, I'll be ruthless, with any council across the country, under any kind of Lib Lab Con rule, they've got box tickers in the council, and it's not good. But, you know, normal people can stand up and be counted. And it's not difficult, guys. It really isn't difficult. If you can talk to people and you get on with people on your street, that's your start. That's your start. You don't have to be always comfortable at the door. We can get other people to do that. But if you have a network of people and you live in that area and you know people, as soon as you stand up, they will vote for you if they've known you all their lives. Like a lot of the people in the area where I am, people have known me for 40 odd years of my 57 years worth of life. And I went to school with some of these people. They know me well. They know my character. They know what I've done to support my family and other families and things like that. So, I already get a lot of support that way. And the voting's changing. 2 years ago, when Jean Stretton was in, you would have had to get 1,500 votes to get on my council. Now, that is under 1,000. That is under 1,000. So, and with all the political conflict we've got between a Lib-Lab con, all the foreign wars interfering via elections, it's reducing the count, is reducing the vote for the Conservatives and for Labour. So it's giving chance for independent parties, British Democrats, National Housing Party, English Democrats, whichever party, to get councillors and to get in. And of course, it's giving the independents a chance. As we've seen in Rochdale, an independent member of parliament, just an independent, comes second against George Galloway's win with something like 6,000 votes. And it's looking like this Tully guy will be going further and running again. And, he hasn't run 10 elections. He's not part of any party. He's a local businessman, knows Rochdale well. He's got skills to bring to the council. And he came second, which is exceptional. And this is happening across the country, guys. It's not just happening in Oldham. It's not just happening in London. It's happening across the country, and we're part of it. I am absolutely loving this, me. I'm absolutely loving it. It's been a bit more difficult for me because Pat's elections are every 4 years, but my election is there's one seat up, and we have 3 elections in 4 years because there's 3 seats. So I'm coming up to a gap. But since I started, the party got registered. I've been knocking and going out every single day. I don't get a break. I really don't. But, I'm loving it. And at the very least, I cause controversy. A lot of the stuff that's been on my leaflets, you won't see on anyone else's leaflet. I'm steadfast. I've got a thick skin. And I give it to the council. The last campaign briefing we had a candidate and agent briefing, and the last one I went to, there weren't many there, but the police turned up, the chief executive, and I said, look, if anyone's going to threaten me like 2 candidates got threatened in the Rochdale elections, it's not going to go well. He went, what do you mean? Said, well, can our citizen arrest them? No, you can't. What do you mean I've got to report it? If they're going to be aggressive and threaten or bully me in the street like they have done with other people, remember Simon Dangsack got his life threatened. And I told him in council I just won't have any of it. And it's on my leaflet. And, I just feel sorry. I feel sorry for the first person who's even going to bring it up to me. But, we have to deal with these things. It is a bit difficult in Oldham because of the Rochdale thing, but it's different in other areas. It's different in Basildon. It'll be different in Pat's ward. But, we've got a lot going on in Oldham. And even though I don't support George Galloway's politics, him coming in, taking that MP seat in Rochdale has sent shockwaves, guys, shockwaves across Greater Manchester. He said he's after Angela Rayner's MP position. He's going after the Mayor and Crime Commissioner of Manchester. He's going to be running candidates in Oldham. And Labour, the Tories and the Lib Dems are all cracking their underpants, guys. Over to you, Pat. Woo.
Yeah, just quick update on my campaign. I've done a quick pause on my campaign because the London elections are happening now, the mayoral elections. And I am going to be voting in that. I'm going to do a video on it. I'm going to be voting for the party who's got the best reversing the traffic restrictions policy, because as most people will know, in London, the speed limit now is 20 miles an hour. We've got ULEZ, we've got congestion charge, we've got lower traffic neighbourhood schemes causing chaos. It is literally going back to the year zero, Pol Pot, Cambodia style. I'm not joking. And like, this is how serious it is. So I'm going to do a video on that. But I did have a problem with my knee. And to all our supporters, they'd be very pleased to know that it actually, I went to the physio and it was my back. And I've been doing a few exercises and it's cleared up. So I was really worried I won't be able to do any leafleting. But I was out leafleting in Sutton the other day. We finished off leafleting award down there. We got 2 candidates down there, one in Sutton, one in Merton. Hopefully going to have 6 candidates in the London local elections in 2026, including myself and 2 others in Camden, which is great. So I'm having a few weeks break because there is a few teams of Labour canvassers out, and there's everyone's going to be thinking about this election coming up in London, because you've got the mayoral election and you've got the assembly election and the list election. There's actually 3 separate things you can vote on in this particular, and we're not going to be on any of them at the moment because we're a small party concentrating on local elections. But I just wanted to ask Chris a couple of questions. Just how's the campaign going? How well do you think you're going to do in the result? And also, how many yeses have you had, and how many of your supporters have you got onto a postal vote?
Okay, so first of all, I'll say that we've got British Democrats as a whole has got me standing in Basildon. We've got the chairman, Jim Leithwaite, standing in Whiteward in Bradford. We've got Julian Leppert standing in Paternoster Ward in Waltham Abbey. And we've also got Lawrence Ruston, who's standing in Maidstone, Kent. Now, he needs activists and he needs people, because he's got a very, very, very good chance there of maybe even getting a seat, because he done very well last year with minimal. When I say minimal work, I don't mean he didn't do work. He was very, very late starting last year, and he done a lot of canvassing, a lot of it on his own, I think, and he got a very, very, very respectable vote share. On doing, maybe couple of months work or whatever. So he's doing very well in, I think it's Shepway Ward in Maidstone. So if anyone can get down there and help him, he needs all the help he can get. My campaign is going very well. It's a very, very big ward, my one. Like the borough, it's massive. Like my parish is big enough. There's something like 9,500 electors in my borough council. It's going quite well. Obviously I've got about 60 yeses so far, maybe 60, 70 yeses. Obviously you get a lot of possibles, so you can re-knock them down. I mean, I'd love to be able to do like 2 or 3 sweeps, because then you'd get a bigger thing. Postal. Now this is another thing. I'm massive on postal voting. So they did change the postal votes. So now you need like your national insurance, but it's so easy to get someone on a postal vote. I think in this election so far, I think obviously people that weren't on postal votes, I think I've collected about 15, and that's only me canvassing. Obviously,
15?
Yeah, 15 postal votes. But obviously, if people are on postal votes, I'd say it's so easy, because look, you know what people are like if the election day comes and it's raining, or you might have a, like you said, you could have an injury like yourself, Pat, or you could be elderly. I found in the parish council election in 2022 that I had a 15% turnout, which is not too bad in just a parish council election. Yeah, a lot of the votes are postal votes. Yeah. I think my actual vote was something like 250 or 248. I think I got, and I think 300 and something people voted. Yeah, but a lot of them were postal votes, because I got about probably nearly 100 postal votes. Yeah, So the actual day of the election, the actual polling station was quite quiet. Like it was in spits and starts, but I definitely do believe that getting people on a postal vote, it's dead easy. You get the forms, you get them to sign the form, and send them off to the your local council office, and then they're always on that postal voter list.
Do you send them off, or do you take them down there yourself? I'll take them down there.
I personally take them down there. They can send them off themselves. I don't tend to push but sometimes it's easier. Just, I mean, my local council, you can just put it in a pigeonhole at the council offices. And touch wood, they always go through, and then they're constantly on the postal voter list.
So let me just explain to the listeners. What we're talking about is when we go knocking on the doors and people say to us they're definitely going to vote for us, we then suggest, would you like to go on a postal vote to make it easier to vote? Like, you might be ill on the day, you might have a family relative who's ill, who's not in London or wherever the election is. And then we just quickly get the format. If they say yes, we fill it out quickly. And like Chris just said, they've now added national insurance number. Some people, they don't know it, the national insurance number, but most of the time they're okay with it. And then, you know, we collect them and then we take them down to the town or hand them in. And then that's getting your voters on the post vote. That's what Labour have been doing for the last 25 years.
Have you noticed that? Sorry to butt in. Have you noticed that the box where you wanted to stay on a postal vote, now in Oldham, that is 3 years. You only get a 3-year maximum now. You
really?
Forever. You get a 3-year maximum on the new sheet. Now, I didn't see that coming, but it's there. But, I mean, I've got 2 years to mine, so I'm going to bang out. This is where I'm going to hammer, said to people, sign up to postal vote in 2 years, vote for me. After that, you'll come off it, and that'll be it. But if you've got an iPad, and you can even do it on your phone. And I've done it twice now on my phone, stood at someone's doorstep, filled in a little bit of a form, and then they'll send forms to that person, and then they'll fill something else in. Then that's it. They're on a postal vote or they're registered. And more people do want to get registered, I've noticed. That, you know, especially the 30-year-old white male, I've had 2 or 3 of them who know me well, and they've registered and they never voted in their lives. They've seen me come along, they like my leaflet, and they're registered. And them guys, obviously, the 30-year-old white male is the most discriminated person in the UK at the moment, unfortunately, more than anybody else. So, you know, they're waking up. And I've got a 2-year... I just want to go to the chat. Jojo Gizmo, we get all our funding through donations. When me and Pat started up, we did spend our own money first 1 or 2 elections, but since then, anybody who's run for us, the leaflets have been paid for. All my leaflets for past 2-3 elections have been paid for. And stuff like that.
Yeah. Let me just add to that. So we don't have any special interest groups funding us. You know, it's all donations from our members and membership fees. That's how we get our money. So if somebody wants to donate, go to our website to the donate section, and you can donate, or even better, you can join for £22 a year. And if you fancy the British Democrats, you can go to their website and join them. You know, we just want people to take part in politics, local politics. And, you know, whatever party you think's best for you, join it, you know, simple as that.
Yeah, we're exactly the same. We donations from the membership, members donating. I'm going to just touch on your point, John, about the 30-year-olds voting. This is another thing. So when you you'll know this, John, when you stand in a lot of elections, right, you get, this goes back to knocking on doors, you get data. Yeah. So you'll find out where your support is. So I've, you know, in Notebridge alone, in my current campaign, obviously, I've got all my yes voters that voted for me in the last election, right? My theory is this: we as a whole, yeah, all our little parties combined, yeah, wherever we're standing in the country, if we the non-voter, right? And you know when you knock on their door and they go, "Oh, I'm not interested. I don't vote, mate. I don't want it." If we could change their perception, which you can, because you've done it, I've done it, Pat, you've done. You know, I've been with you when we've done it. Yeah. If you change their perception to a person that's, as you said, had never voted in their life, but now they're going to vote for you, John, or they're going to vote for me, or they're going to vote for Pat, they're going to vote for Paul, whoever, that will change things. Then it becomes easier because yes, I know people move away and people sadly pass away or whatever, but your electoral register is like your Bible. It's like the election Bible for wherever you are, wherever you're standing. Once you know where you're, there you go. See, a bit. Once you know your support, always still connect with them, because obviously that's your support. That's your core people. Yeah. But if you can get that person down the pub that you always see, or the local shop, or you see them walking their dog on a Sunday and they don't vote, but they can vote for you, as you say, people know you, John, in your local area, and people say, like, getting to know me quite well, then they'll vote for you. And that's an extra vote that you're going to get that people wouldn't have bothered. And I think, I personally think this, where the councils are changing, like obviously, a lot of the councils, like my one, I know Lawrence's one in Maidstone, they're all in, all out this year. So where they've changed some of the boundaries. So they've made some of the 2-seated wards a 3-seater, because ours used to be done in thirds, but my ward at the minute only used to have 2 seats. So they've now made it into 3, but it's took a part of another ward, yeah. So it's all in, all out this year. And the thing I was saying about Maidstone, for the British Democrats, with Maidstone especially, and my ward and the other ones, this is the best time to start getting votes, because what they get, I don't know whether it's like there with yours, John, you can vote 3 times, yeah? Because what they've done in my ward, obviously 3 Tories are standing, I've got like 3 Liberal Democrats. Now you've got 3 votes, yeah? And what I've been finding, either my dead set yeses are only going to vote once, and obviously, touch wood, they've told me that. Some of them that I'm in and are in are, or they know me, they say, "Oh, Chris, I know you," but and I say, "Look, give me a vote," and I know they will, and I know some of them will probably think, "Hang on a minute, I'll just give you." They might vote somebody else, right? But what they've done, the bigger parties have packed in. I mean, my election, for example, Labour is a safe Tory seat, my ward, yeah. So Labour have only stood 1 candidate because they know they can't win it, but the Tories have stood 3. So they're all the sitting councillors right now, yeah. So they only put out 1 leaflet with all 3 of them on it, yeah. And obviously it's a load of lies on there, or whatever they want to do. But the same with the Liberal Democrats. They've got 3 candidates. They've put 1 leaflet out with all. So that's what they've done. They've tacked it. They've all, obviously, I think ours has gone from a 36 to a 42 council award, yeah. And it is everyone in, everyone out. So this is the thing. If you can get people, for me, it's like, even if they give me 1 vote, and it's fantastic if they only vote for me and put it away. But if I'm in an RM, but they sort of know what I'm about, you never know. They'll give you a vote, and our vote percentages will probably go up, because I think this is the best time now, these elections, we may see, I'm not saying, I'm not being too over optimistic, but I would like to think that our vote shares will go up, just because of this is an all in, all out election. But we'll see. We'll see come May the 2nd. There's still a lot of work to be done. But as we say, we'll all keep trying, yeah?
Let me just plug the party a little bit. Thank you, everyone in the chat. On the Late Night Veteran Show, we've got a special on Thursday, and we've got Andrew Bridging, because he's a veteran, and we've got Piers Corbyn on the show. That's on the Late Night Veteran Show on Thursday. Should be really interesting. Obviously, it's a veteran show, so we're going to be banging on about that. But obviously, I'll be the host, so I will get in about the National Housing Party and stuff. So that's Thursday. I've set the stream up. And then, obviously, we're doing well with the Late Night Veteran Show. We've got somebody coming up. There's a couple of people in the chat who, Rory Herbert in the chat, veteran there. He's been on the show. But I just thought I'd mention, get that in. I'm looking forward to doing a bit of work with Nick Wilson in chat and show him how the door knocking's done. I'm a professional door knocker. I've got to say it. I'm very confident at the door, no matter who opens the door. And I do like targeting specific areas at specific times and stuff like that, and getting abroad. range of people. But yeah, thank you everyone in the chat and all that lot. This is Nationalising Party stream with Christopher Bateman of the British Democrats. I put the link in the chat to their website, also the link to our chat. And again, donations, you can go through the website to donate for us. But we've had a countless amount of leaflets so far, and we're not scared of getting these leaflets and getting them out. We have our recruitment leaflet, and then also we have personal election leaflets. And, you know, and a lot of local issues, like Chris says, the HMOs is causing a big fly tipping scene and stuff like that. And that's prevalent in my area. And one of the local councillors is loving these HMOs. He's loving the fact that all these people are coming to Oldham, and he's been questioned on his. He's a councillor, and he's made millions off these HMOs. So he loves immigration to Oldham. He's not going to stop turning these pubs over. And there was a big change. We had boundary changes in our last election, and 3 Tories got in. None of them got over 1,000 votes, but 3 Tories got in. But now the people who voted for them are angry. And I know a couple of them are going to be voting for me now. And these are staunch Tories in that ward. So, yeah.
I think what we've got to do, John.
Pardon?
I think we've got to get people to move away from party affiliation, especially at local government level, because the calibre of the candidates for the mainstream parties is absolutely dire. That's what I've found when I've stood in the local elections.
Box tickers, I told you, box tickers, not people.
Young girls, a few qualifications. And then when they get elected as councillors, they do absolutely nothing. They just disappear. So the message is to people out there, you are more than capable of being a councillor. You would actually outperform the mainstream councillors. I mean, in the past, it was the aldermen of the city. It was the professionals who ran the councils. That's long gone. Now they're just party apparatchiks. They're a waste of space, most of the local councillors. There are 1 or 2 who are decent and they get known, but the rest of them are useless. So, but we have to persuade people to move away from party labels and look at the calibre of the people who are standing and look at the issues that they're standing on. You have to represent our local people. Now, we can connect with people, obviously, face to face, and we can also connect with people on the issues that really matter to them, because we're prepared to speak outside the box. I mean, the mainstream parties won't go off their main agendas, and they won't face the issues like these votes coming over to Dover, like uncontrolled mass immigration, like the lack of housing. They fob off the local people. So there's big issues here that we're needed for. It's not that we're standing simply because it's a hobby. We're standing because we need different voices at local level and at national level. And someone's asked the question, why do we have these separate parties? Why can't we come together? I mean, our aspiration is that we do come together. That we have the main issues that we agree with, and ultimately we've got to take this battle from the local level to the national level. I mean, you're going to stand for any members of parliament in the general election, Chris, or the British Democrats?
Right. So we are going to stand a few candidates in parliamentary. But basically, just to give voters in key areas like the option of voting for us in every election, but it would just be a handful of the electorate, because the way the British Democrat sees it is that, well, or I see it personally, if we stand, and hopefully you think the Royal Mail would do it, but you get the amount of leaflets you get sent out to your constituency, you would hope that your membership would rise. The profile of the party would get bigger. We're not going to be standing a lot, but I'd say we'd probably stand 3 or 4 candidates in that parliamentary election, if and when it comes. It looks like it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be before January. Obviously, I'm not too sure on a parliamentary what sort of effort and what sort of because I mean it's hard enough doing local elections, Paul. With running around trying to canvass every door. I mean, but yeah, we are looking to stand a few candidates. Yeah, we are looking to basically to raise a profile. Yeah,
Yeah, I think talk about local, national, and also who you're going to back in the London election, Pat, for the mayor.
Well, as I said, I'm going to do a video on it, so you'll have to wait for the video. I'm going to explain. I like
waiting for your videos, mate. will you be doing a run? Will you be on a run when you do it?
But going back to the parliamentary, I mean, I don't want to criticise British Democrats, but I know Mike Jones, and I know that he would be against that because it's just a waste. It's a waste of money, a waste of time. It's going to get a rubbish result. Yeah, going to get demoralises your supporters, and that just makes it look even more difficult to get where we're going, and people get more disheartened. And like all that money you're going to raise to get those 70,000 leaflets, they could be put into like local election campaigns, like double leaflets in a certain area.
I think it's just for us. We're just trying to, whether it's a positive move or not. I think we're just trying to raise the profile of the party. And I mean, some people might,
let's have it right. Reform UK are going to stand in every parliamentary.
Oh, yeah, I know.
They're not going to win. They're not going to win one seat.
Funny you should say about Reform, right? Because Reform in Basildon, there's one candidate standing in local. They don't do local elections. Don't do them.
Well, they are standing in a few this May.
Yeah. I mean,
but they haven't been doing enough, and they're not. No. It's very suspicious, really, that they think that they can capitalise on parliamentary elections and not win any local elections.
It's their net migration thing that I don't think people look at. That one in, one out policy that they,
Yeah. So 200,000 Brits out and 200,000 Africans in.
Yeah, exactly. How's that going to work?
No, it's not good, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Well, I've got a lot of, I don't agree with Reform on so many things. They support Ukraine, they support Israel. Foreign wars. They're happy to send British troops to die in foreign wars, basically. The net immigration thing. 200,000 Brits leave, 200,000 Asians and Africans in. We don't want any more immigration. We don't want any more foreigners coming in our country. Also, refugees, they're happy to let in thousands of refugees a year still. And that they're a cancel culture party as well. We're all banned from that party. They've more or less banned 100,000.
That's the issue.
100,000 Patriots have been banned from that.
That was my
Heritage Party, Reform, UKIP. All the UKIP reclaim, all the UKIP clone parties are cancel culture, and they think they're against cancel culture. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I've
why don't we unite with the smaller parties? I mean, that's what someone's asking in the chat. You got the British Democrats, the Homeland.
Right. So Mike Jones says he's in favour of standing in a limited number of parliamentary seats. Okay. Last time I spoke to him, he thought it was a waste of time, but that's fair enough. He's changed his opinion on that. We do want to work with other parties. That's why we've got Chris Bateman on the show now. And, there's one or two other parties. But I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to work with parties that I'm banned from. So,
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's true.
I don't know who's behind the British Democrats. Thank you for coming on and saying that. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone in the chat. It's been an interesting chat. But honestly, guys, it's easy. It's easy. You can talk to people and people in your area, you will get votes. And, don't think you ain't got the skills. When Margaret said that to me, and she's a school governor, that's how you make a step up to being a councillor. And I want Margaret on the council, not a box ticker who doesn't know anything about schools or never been a school governor, or a box ticker who hasn't even got kids. You know what I mean? And, I want somebody on that council who can understand schools. So Margaret, I want her on the council. We've all got a bit of a skill. My skill, I would say, is sort of like management. I've taught people how to do jobs. I've taught people how to work machinery and stuff like that. I've worked all across the Oldham Borough in a lot of different environments. I'm very well health and safety trained as well. So, you know, I think I can bring these kind of skills to the council. But, you know, it's easy, guys. It's not difficult. It's easy. Just got to get past that first step.
Remember, sorry, John, butting in, but remember, the economy is there to serve the people, yeah, not the other way around. And obviously, all these, the big gang parties, even in borough local elections, they're not standing up for the electorate. They're basically just standing there for themselves. And I think, then Paul, I think you touched on it earlier. I think you're correct. I think the bigger parties are beginning to crumble because people are seeing through them. But obviously, it's a slow cooker effect, yeah. But I think people are starting to realise.
We've got to offer an alternative. That's why it's so important we build up our parties. People join, people get involved, people donate. We've got to have an alternative politics in Britain because it's going to be needed. There are big issues, big problems ahead, and we have to have the voices. We have to have the people's voice heard in these debates. I mean, it's excluded from the national debate. We need the people to become active again, proactive. The Labour, the Liberals, the Conservatives, they just manage and manipulate people now. You don't seek to serve people. You don't listen to people. You don't represent people. We need independent parties because we need true representatives of the people. We're offering ourselves as the tribunes of the people. We're listening to the people. We know the issues that matter, and we're not bought and paid for by the corporations. We're independent voices. We speak from the heart, but we've educated ourselves. We've got a lot of experience in local politics. We want to encourage more people to get on board. We're building up the network. And if there's any patriots out there who are not affiliated to a party or are not involved in an organisation, get involved. Come and join the National Housing Party. Join the British Democrats. Join a party which speaks for the British people, because we need our voice and we need it loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Coming up to the last bit of the hour. Chris, anything else to say? Do you want to finish off?
Just first of all, thank you so much for letting me on the stream. We're all friends here, and I'm so pleased to be on. To thank you very much for that. John, good luck in your election campaign. I hope you smash it. I know you're for the people, and you know you do good in your area. Pat, obviously, you know I love you, Pat. Always have done. You're a really great asset to the movement. Paul, I'm starstruck talking to you, mate. So it's been really good.
We're getting autograph for you.
No, cheers. But no, honestly, all I'm going to say is all I'm going to say is British Democrats National Housing Party basically cut from the same cloth. We're all there we're all doing a greater good, as you'd say, Pat. We're all doing God's work, and we're all here basically to serve our people. And, you know, make Great Britain and England and Wales and Northern Ireland and Scotland a better place. So if you can, and that's all I can say, if you can help with John's election, with mine, with Lawrence's, Julian's, Jim's, up and down the country, there are people that are actually, you know, speaking for the residents and people of this country. So let's all get a good result, yeah? And God bless.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you. The chat's been lively tonight. Thanks very much. Don't forget, go to my YouTube, look for the reminder for Thursday's stream, and hopefully 100% Andrew Bridging and Piers Corbyn on. So we'll have a good rant there, and then I'll be on Friday. Watch out for our stream every Tuesday. NHP UK Party Talk. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Good night, everyone, and God bless.
Yes,
and
good night. God bless.
George's Day.
Happy St. George's Day.